Whether you're a pastor, a team lead, a volunteer, or even a church member, there's going to be seasons of change, especially if you're a part of a church that is all about life change.
Right.
Change requires doing things different than the way that they've been done in the past. By nature, we don't like change.
No.
So how do you get the buy-in of others around you in order for the vision to come alive and become a reality? That's what we're going to talk about and share with you today. But before we get into today's episode, will you do us a favor? There are so many pastors, church leaders, and volunteers in small towns that truly want to see healthy, supernatural growth. They want to reach as many people for Jesus in their communities as possible. And you can help us get this podcast out to more people than ever before by simply rating and reviewing this podcast wherever you consume this content. You can also share this episode with your friends on social media, and that will help as well. Thanks so much in advance. Now let's dig into today's content. Welcome to the Small Town Big Church Leadership Podcast, a place for pastors, church leaders, and volunteers to grow themselves and the local church. We're pastors Brad and Misty Hilton, church planters in rural America.
As a leader, we're always looking for ways to make it better. We're looking to solve problems and challenges, and as leaders in the church, we believe God gives wisdom to those who ask. I mean, seriously, all wisdom comes from Him. Mm-hmm. But once you've sought the face of God and you really feel like God has given you a clear vision for that next season or for the change that needs to happen in your ministry, how you communicate that vision to others is critical in the success of that vision coming to pass. Listen, most visions will encompass change. And you said it, change is difficult for most people.
Yeah, we don't like it.
We like the idea of change, honestly, right? We like the idea of things being different until it actually starts to happen.
Right.
And then it becomes really uncomfortable. So in order to get people to buy into the change and the vision, you as a leader are going to cast. You need to be 100% sold on it yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're not fully sold on this idea, on
Absolutely.
This new vision, you're not ready to cast the vision. Listen, you can't take people where you've never been.
Right.
If you cannot see it clearly in your own heart and in your own mind, then you need to continue to pray for clarity and ask God to make it clear to you before you ever move it forward.
That's right. And here's a little pro tip, and I'm saying this from experience. Don't be a Joseph. If you're like me, you're a dreamer, you're an innovator,
Right.
You have lots and lots of ideas. I have ideas, right? You're a creative person.
You live in the heads in the clouds.
You have to learn to be quiet until the timing is right.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Would you ever want to eat a half-baked pie?
No, that's disgusting.
No, but we did, didn't we?
We did.
Do you remember the time my mom, she is so wonderful. She is so
She's
caring
amazing.
and nurturing and just so sacrificial. She brought us this key lime pie. And we were so excited to be able to dig into it. And I remember we pulled it out of the fridge and we began to eat it. And I think at some point in the process, our 4 kids took it and it disappeared. They went out to
they took it like to the shed, to the loft.
Storage building in our backyard, and they climbed up in the loft like their little fort, and they hammered the rest of that pie.
Well, because we didn't have sweets that often.
Right.
And I think it was like around Christmas or something that she had brought this pie over, and it looked delicious. So you and I had like a small slice, and then the kids came in and they wiped
they hammered it
out, okay?
But we all had some.
Right?
So not long after that, we all kind of got to
stomachs started
feeling
hurting really
not
bad.
so good. We all had stomach aches and all of us. And I thought, this is really strange. Like, how is it that all 6 of us simultaneously, our stomachs hurt? Something isn't right. So we started thinking, what on earth could it be? Did we all eat the same thing? And then we thought, well, there was that pie.
Right?
Okay. So come to find out, we're not feeling too good. We get a call from my mom. And she said, guys, I have to tell you something. We're like, what? She said, it just occurred to me. I don't think I baked that key lime pie that I gave you guys. You haven't eaten it yet, have you? We were like,
It's gone.
Yeah, it is definitely in the tank, and we're all feeling it right now. I thought it was a no-bake. I thought
It honestly
looked like a no-bake.
It looked like a no-bake cheesecake.
It tasted
that was like key lime
like
pie.
a no-bake. It was
did.
good.
We had no idea that it needed
to be baked. So we all hammered this unbaked key lime pie, and we all got
suffered the consequences.
sick.
Yes.
So my question for you then is, would you want to eat a half-baked pie? Trust me, you would not want to eat a half-baked pie, and neither will your people want to hear a half-baked vision.
Right.
I learned this the hard way, and honestly, I still have to keep my self-control reins tight as to not serve half-baked ideas to the wrong people at the wrong times.
Right.
When you share a vision prematurely, this is so true, your people learn to not trust you or take you seriously when you cast a vision.
Right.
You want to be very confident and know in your spirit that it's going to happen. The plan is solid and the timing is right. Don't be known as that weak leader that has lots of ideas but no follow through if you want them to follow you in the future.
So, as we said before, how you cast that vision once you're 100% ready to go is very critical to the success of that vision. You cannot just throw it out flippantly. You have to be very, very strategic.
That's right. We believe the best way to cast any vision is by answering these 4 questions. And keep in mind, this format, it can really work for any vision cast, large or small, from, let's say, a one-on-one gathering to a staff meeting to even a Sunday message, or maybe you want to put something out, an announcement on social media to your entire congregation or even an organization or a company. If you're casting vision to an entire church or organization, it's critical that you cast the vision first with your core leaders, though, and get their buy-in before going to the entire church or your organization. All right, so let's look at step number 1. We've kind of formulated this as a question. And so when you answer these questions, it gives you the outline for how you're going to cast this vision. So question number 1 would be, where are we now? Right?
Right.
What we mean by that is, what's the challenge before us?
Right.
We don't like to say, what's the problem? Problems, they breed fear. Challenges, rather, puts our heads together and causes us, it pushes us to, in an exciting way, like you were saying, figure things out. Let's figure this out together. So for us, the most common challenge we've had since launching Mountain Movers Church in Grove, Oklahoma, has been space challenges.
Right.
We have dealt with this nonstop since day one when we started in our mobile home. So hopefully this is a challenge that you're currently dealing with, or in Jesus' name, it's a challenge you're about to deal with as you begin to navigate through your growth cycle. So whether you're casting vision to your staff members or your congregation, you need to get them to identify with the challenge immediately. If you want their attention, if you want them to stay with you, if you want to begin to initiate that buy-in, you might begin with something like this. It's no surprise, for the last 3 or 4 months, we've been seeing more and more families attending our services, and it's getting more and more difficult to help families find seats. Maybe you've noticed a mild dip in our attendance. So seeing a dip in attendance isn't a good thing.
Right.
What we can't be about is turning people away. We have to be a church that figures out a way to make room for more families to experience Jesus in a real way and make heaven their home.
The second question you're going to answer is, where are we going? And in that, we're talking about what's the solution, okay? So in your scenario, Brad, we're talking about running out of room. So whether that is the main sanctuary or whether that is a kids building or the youth center, whatever it is that you have ran out of space, then you are presenting the solution. So maybe the solution is we're going to another service, right? Or maybe the solution is we're changing the seating or the arrangement of the seating. For us, we literally did that. We brought in bleachers, which was completely unconventional in the house of God. But you know what? We felt like God had downloaded that vision, right? So we had to pass that to the people. Or maybe it's time to build, right? And it's literally time to add on or build a new building. Whatever the solution is, that next step is you are literally sharing that solution. And I'll even say, this, when we talk about casting these visions, it really is from the smallest to the largest, right? I mean, a building project, that is like the largest
pretty big.
vision you cast, and generally comes from the lead pastors, okay?
Yeah.
But maybe you're in one of the ministries of the church, right? And you're just wanting to make some small tweaks. You're still casting vision.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're starting a coffee shop, right? When you're launching a new ministry, whatever that is, you're still taking these same steps.
Yeah,
And
even if
so,
you're talking to an individual about jumping
Joining.
into a role or a position
Exactly.
as a volunteer
Yeah.
or as a new staff member.
right, you're asking them, let's just say you need more people to lead small groups. You're still going to take these same steps.
Yeah, same steps.
Show them what that challenge is, right?
Right.
Look at all these people, and
Right.
we need more leaders
Yeah.
to disciple and shepherd.
And again, timing is everything. So at this point,
Right.
no matter if you're presenting this to an individual or to an entire congregation, if the timing is right, everybody is going to immediately begin to relate
Right.
and identify with what you're saying because they've been seeing it. Everybody knows, yeah, this has been the challenge for a long time.
Right.
And thank God we're talking about it.
Right.
It sounds like there's a solution right around the corner.
Yes. And I will say, as you begin to present the solution, don't let it rattle your cage what their faces look like. You cannot let that rattle you.
Yeah.
You cannot let that change your mind, because remember what we said earlier. You're confident.
You gotta be
You're
confident.
100%.
Because you've prayed about this.
This is what God has said is the next step, the next season, okay? So that second part, we are literally presenting that solution to that group of people we're casting the vision to. So then the third question that we're asking as we're casting this vision is, how will we get there? What's the plan?
That's immediately what people are going to begin
Exactly.
thinking is, all right,
How's this actually going to happen?
what's the details of this?
Because,
How's
you
this going to
know,
work?
when you're laying out the solution, you're literally trying to get them to see what you see.
Right.
You want them to be able to see the future, and that may be way down the road, especially if we're talking about a new building or a
building
new
project.
ministry or
Right.
whatever, okay?
Right.
But question number 3 is now where we're going to break it down. What's the plan? And when you do this, listen to me. You have got to be so very clear. You got to give specific steps from getting from where you are right now to where you're going.
You're trying to answer questions before those questions are ever asked.
Absolutely.
So you're really trying to think ahead. Okay, what are all the questions that are going to be brewing in the minds of our people when we share this?
Yes.
And you want to try to pinpoint and answer all those
Yep.
questions
As
for
many
them.
details as
as
you
possible.
can.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave people guessing, all right? And this is why it's really important, especially if you are casting vision like for the entire organization, that you have cast vision first to smaller groups, okay? So, of course,
This is huge.
your core leaders, so your staff, and maybe for us, that would be like team leads and captains and life group leaders. And there's these smaller groups of people, because what's going to happen is you're going to try to think through every question possible, and you're going to try to detail every
And there's still
step.
going to be questions.
And in those smaller groups, you may even give opportunity for them to ask questions. Well, then by the time you're ready to cast this vision to the entire church or to the entire organization, you have now hopefully got every question ready to answer.
So the fourth and final question is, what's my part? And this is the question that the person you're talking to
Right.
or your congregation, this is what they're asking at this stage in the
Right.
vision cast. What's my part? Where do I fit in to all of this?
So it could look something like this. After you've cast that vision, you know in their mind, they're asking that question, like you said, Brad, what's my part, right? As a leader, you've got to be so very clear with what you're asking of them. So if you're saying you've painted this big picture, we're going to a second service, we're going to reach so many more people, we're going to make more room for more families to come and experience that life change, and here's what we need from you, right? And so you're being very clear. We need those of you who are not yet serving to jump on the team. You've got God-given gifts and talents to be used in the kingdom of God. And so now you start painting this picture of like, you can be a part and make the difference, right? And it can be that, or it can be all the way down to you are a one-on-one with an individual, and you are asking them to become a part of a specific ministry, okay? And so when you get done casting the vision, right, you've done the challenge, you've talked about the solution, right? And we are literally giving them those step-by-step, this is how we're going from where we are to where we're gonna be. Now you're literally, be very clear with them. What are you asking of them? Right? I'm asking you to prayerfully consider doing this and lay it out. Give them some time to process, give them time to pray, but then follow up, okay? So specifically, sometimes you're given a timeline like, hey, would you take a week? If someone doesn't jump on board with the vision and their answer to your ask is no, don't let that discourage you.
Don't let it get you.
Because here's what you need to understand. If you fully trust God, then God has the right people for the vision he's put on your heart. And if you ask someone and they say no, then you need to believe that God has somebody different.
You have to know, and you God has called you to do this. He's going to prepare the way.
Yep.
He's going to make a way every single step of the way. The steps of a righteous person are ordered of God.
That's right. So we're excited for you and the new year that's ahead. We're excited for the vision and the new season. And we just want to encourage you, put these 4 steps into action every single time you cast a vision, from small to extremely large, and just see what God will do. Well, thank you for joining us today. We hope this content has truly blessed you. If you want to connect with us, you can go on Instagram or Facebook, as Brad said a little bit earlier. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.